Hey guys, this is Mikro here. Put out a poll this morning. You guys want to see the gate entry stuff, but the other polls are like really, really close, so I'll make sure to keep the gem guide and the sphere guide on there for the next couple days. So I'm gonna try this using the Epic Pen tool that I used for my VOD review, which I really like, but might turn out to be a little bit sketchy since it's live. I think it's a little bit better though than actually just getting like a still image, so we'll see how this goes. Alright, so oh shoot, this doesn't work, does it? If I put this on windowed, will it work? Yes, it will. Okay, awesome. Alright, so getting into gates, this is going to be attack and defense. I've explained this in a VOD once, or let me get a little bit of a better angle than this. Yeah, top down's probably best. Okay, so there's kind of three spots in a gate. You have the spot that's like a neutral zone, and then you have the attacker area, and then you have the defender area. Typically, if you are in this neutral zone, you're at a disadvantage because you're in a choke basically, so that damage to the defenders is going to come from more angles into you, and defenders could spread out a little bit more, which means that you're inherently going to take more damage than if you are on the sides. There are some like little techniques that are like good to minimizing this damage. Like there's a little cubby here on this gate, and there's a little cubby here, so that you could stand in these spots and you'll take a little bit less damage, but generally if you're in this middle area, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. So what this means is if you're an attacker or a defender, you want to push through this zone as fast as you possibly can, and if you're on the opposite side, you want to slow people while they're going through that zone so that they take more damage. So what this means is you want your ice gauntlets up as far as possible to elongate this choke. So if you drop a shower here, then it's going to be more time in this choke. You drop a shower here, more time, shower, shower, etc. So it's basically just about landing as much as showers as possible on defense to elongate the amount of time that people take damage in a choke. And also, when people are at a certain point in choke, like say that the attackers are at about this line, then at this point their healers will be in their backline relatively uncontested. So if you have people on the outside drop down, drop behind, flank the healers, kill the healers, and then push through, then everyone in this middle area will just die because they will be trapped between a blue line here and a blue line here, and at this point they are just caught in a crossfire and they're going to get collapsed on and most likely die. So from an attacker point of view, this is very, very difficult to counter. Uh, but there are some things that you can do that are a little bit helpful. So one strategy that has been fairly popular is a bait. So one spot that I like to play a lot is I like to play like right here on the edge of point as an attacker because my healer could still heal me, but I'm still in a safe enough spot to where I'm not taking an incredible amount of damage. And if people turn to me, then they can walk through this space a lot easier. So this is like a good spot to play. Another like good technique is to just run past people and then get on the defenders healers, because often defenders will try to trade the attackers healers. But if you're able to kill the defense side's healers, then they'll also just die very, very fast or force them out. And at that point, they actually can't trade your attacker healers because you traded the backlines faster. So that's like another technique of like trading backlines, not as easy. And then like the third and final technique is kind of similar to this, like kind of baiting someone up here, but you want to bait either a melee or a character that has a lot of refreshing ward and abilities that can basically blow up clumps off of that. So what that basically means is you're either baiting an IGBB, an IGVG, or a Warhammer, and you're giving them every heal resource that you have, and the rest of your group is playing a little bit slow but in a close enough position to follow up. So if I am baiting a person who's standing right here, I want my red line to be about here and not full commit yet. But this guy right here is going to be pressuring, or girl is going to be pressuring like this area while these guys are pressuring this area. So it creates a little bit of a pinch. You have a little bit of a triangle going on here. And then this spot essentially becomes a spot that you can kind of walk through a lot freer than normal. So that's like a base idea of like how to get through B. B is a little bit easier to get through than other gates just because this like width is a little bit wider. So it's a easier spot to kind of zerg through with more people, but it's not an easy spot to get a super strong foothold. Usually the problems with B come from like after you get in the gate, but in terms of actually getting through the gate itself, your base idea is to get through this spot as fast as possible. That could be using certain abilities. So on the blunderbuss, for example, one thing that we've been messing around with uh, is using the the blast shot and using lingering flow to give the entire army 25% haste to get through that choke a lot faster. And then you're able to sometimes run past people, get behind them, drop a shower, and that works very effectively on both defense and attack. And it's something that's like not super used. So there's like some advanced stuff there that you can do, but it basically comes down to you need to bait someone and then get on either their healers or their players that are ice showering from an attacker's point of view. Because if you hit the guys that are ice showering, then they won't be able to cast ice shower. Because if you get hit while you're casting ice shower, it immediately cancels the rest of the ice shower. So if your melee is able to get through and then swings on ice gauntlets, that was another way to help get through the gate a little bit easier. All right. So let me clean up this and then we'll go to the next one. All right. A and C are both fairly similar. From a defender's point of view, they're very easy to attack or to defend. I'll set this up again. So this choke is a little bit funny. It's not like a super concrete line, but it's something like this is the line I'd say. And then you have your defender, you have your attacker, and then you have your neutral zone. So the same concept of baiting people can apply here. As a defender, you have more weird spots to play in. One spot that some people like to play in is up here. They also like to play over here so that they can get an ice shower off, but they're still safe. So those are some interesting things. From an attacker point of view, this gate's like really hard to send a lot of people through. It can be good to do a rotation to B and then just kind of ignore this gate for a little bit. It can also be good to stack a lot of muskets and bows here because this angle is a little bit wider and the defenders can't play as close. So you have more opportunity to shoot people and force them out by just raw damage itself. And then from there, you can take space because people won't be able to play the door super close, or if they are playing the door super close, they're going to be down health pots. So when you see people pop their pots because they're doing so much damage, then you can like walk in off of that. There's not a lot more secrets besides that. It kind of just comes down to the whole baiting aspect or just rushing through and timing it super well. It's often really hard to time it super well. One trap that a lot of people fall in is they'll try to like all in this, and then defense will just swing back with their ultimates, and the attackers will be caught with no stam. So I would be careful about trying to do a super fast push between on some of these gates instead of doing like a slower push where you're trying to inch your way through the gate. You'll be taking a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, if you can say move your line from being here to being here, then you'll take significantly less damage already because there's just more space to dodge things. And once you get to your line to about this like third mark, then you're just like kind of set and you're through the gate. You just need to stabilize, and once you stabilize and you help healers through, then you're set. The biggest thing I see is like people really try to rush this push when people call to push. Like when they call to push, it's not like a hey, we're gonna go zoom like through this super fast. It's we need to take our space. We need to make sure we're healed up, and you just like kind of slowly inch your way forward, and you force people out as you go. You want to play in your sacreds, and then kind of do a leapfrog mechanism with the sacreds. Like once your next sacred's down, you play in that sacred. So it will be a little easier to see next patch, but you got a sacred here, play in that sacred. Got a sacred here, play in that sacred. A healer throws your sacred over here, okay, go jump over there. But you want to leapfrog, play in your sacreds. You make sure your healers are safe before you like full commit, otherwise you'll just die. So that's what I have for the back gate. There's also some stuff where defenders can jump behind, but it's not as common as it is on B. Or sorry, that's what I have for that side gate. This side gate is very similar. There's like just like one little bit of a different spot that you can play as a defender. So let's pull up the tool again. This is Epic Pen, by the way. It's an awesome drawing tool. It is free and it is great. All right, so same idea. This choke, this spot right here is actually insane to play as a defender. Like you don't get forced out, you can provide a lot of value, and they can actually shoot you through this little hole right here, but you think they would be able to. It's also a really good keg spot. Yeah, I haven't done that one in a little bit, but it's a good keg spot if you hold that gate too. And this is also a good keg spot up here, but it's a little funny. So yeah, defender, very easy to hold. Attacker, your best mechanism is to try to get through, get to the stairs, and just get up, and try to shower this angle so that you can kind of get up more freely. Because if you could kind of make this path a little bit safer, then you can kind of sneak up top, and it's a lot easier. As a defender on this point, I like to shift the defense a little bit to the right and hold like more sort of over here and force them into this open space where they'll just their healers will walk too far in, and then you just kind of collapse on healers when they walk too far in. Um, as an attacker, you're kind of just fucked on this gate, and you're kind of just fucked on the other side point too. To be honest, there's like not a really easy way in. Often, if you could like kind of get up to here, that can be pretty good, but you just need to identify a side that you want to go, clear it for a healer, make sure that you're an LOS, and then kind of go from there. It's not super easy. But the biggest thing is the baiting technique, kind of rushing through and then doing the leapfrog thing where you pop from sacred to sacred. There's not too much else that goes into it, but and it's not just as simple as a hey, I'm gonna get through my gate and like run over here, triple dodge over here, and then just realize that your healer's still back at the gate and that your healer's dead now because you just left your healer alone. You want to do like a slow push as much as you can, try to control the zone, make it as safe as possible for your healer to get through. You really need to make it so that your healer is not able to take basically any damage in order to get up here safely, which is something that again I see a lot of people rush, and you cannot rush if you actually want to win. Okay, so back gates. This one is even more fun. So let me see if I get my camera angle and my draw tool set up. Click the tab, hit here, hit here. Okay, so this is what you would think the choke is for this gate. It is not that. The choke for this gate is something like this. Like you get the idea. Like as a attacker, typically this is what people will do. So what does this mean as a defender? It means you can stand here and you're effectively controlling the gate. You could stand here, you're effectively controlling the gate. You could stand here, you're effectively controlling the gate. So what does this mean as a person that likes to hold these gates and is typically tasked holding this gate? I like to stand here. Why do I stand here? As a defender, if I stand here, this is a little cumbersome with the tool, but I think it's a little bit better and more clear than doing it otherwise. I can control this lane. I could also control this flank, so if they try to come up top over here on the left, then I'll shower this, and I could shower this. If people run off into center stage, they're just going to get shot by muskets and tend to get forced out, and they're just caught in open space, and they don't want to be in open space. They want to have like a wall to back up to. They want to have a corner to back up to. So what I really recommend is sort of baiting people in. Play over here. If people try to rush these stairs as a defender, you just shower this area right now, and then they just can't get up here. If they try to walk through this area, you just catch them when they're going up the top. So as an attacker, you're basically forced in a spot where you have to go in, and that's just not where you typically want to be. So yeah, would recommend doing that as a defender. As an attacker, best way to attack this is something that I saw Plage do, I think, where as an attacker, he walked through and he stood right here basically, and he just got pocket healed. So what this did is it made it so that these guys all came to him, these guys came to him, these guys came to him, and then when they all came to him, he turned and he ran this way. So he came through here and then he booked it over to here, and he jumped down on here and then kind of came up and jumped back around and just played this like long hallway. What this did is if you pull melees to chase you on this area, then this gate becomes free and people could walk through. This gate becomes free, people could walk through. But you have to have someone that's tanky enough to pull people to actually do that. The only build that I know that can consistently do that is Greatsword Hatchet. So I would recommend either running like a medium person that's like really tanky in this group in order to lead the charge, or a Greatsword Hatchet. And the same thing kind of applies to the other gate, uh, where I would typically hold like by where this horn is if I was on this gate, because people want to go through. Like if I'm an attacker here, this is like where my rotate starts. I'm gonna get through. I'm gonna hit this clump. I'm gonna do my best to get through this, and then I'm gonna use my stam. I'm gonna get up to here and then try to get up top. So you don't like necessarily want to be like right here. You want to throw your storms here, your showers here. Hot take, but you could even use wind chill. So if someone gets past here, they're trying to go up top. Say you got a healer that's like walking through here, you wind chill the healer so the healer's stuck and super split, and then you just kill the healer while the melees go up top. The melees will just die to your decks. But the base idea is they have this super long choke, so don't try to hold them super early. Like try to hold them a little bit later, make them use more resources to get through the choke, and then just collapse on them later. And as an attacker, it's kind of the same thing. If you try to do this rotate, someone will die. If someone doesn't die, they're either just not holding the gate or something's like really, really wrong. So you just want to kind of get through, try to live, and try to make space. Moreover, or the alternative is you get through, you immediately hop down, and you try to help this other gate through. And then once you help this other gate through, then you want to kind of come back up and then try to take control of this area for the respawn and make sure that your healers can kind of play in this area and try to heal yourself up from there. Because this could heal everywhere and is super safe. This could heal everywhere, is super safe. This could heal everywhere and is super safe. So, yep. Uh, that's what I have in terms of like where you should be playing on the gates and whatnot. And I'll see you guys in the next video, but there's not much of a more complicated thing than you want to bait people going through. The reason why you don't all in on these gates is because people will just force stone form vines or detonate and they'll just hit you super, super hard while you're all inning. But if you bait people, then it will force people out and you'll be able to kind of collapse on them and you inherently just get a lot of value. So yeah, that's the biggest recommendation I have. You see it in the EU all the time, and they just can't get through these gates half the time. EU is just like, hey, we're gonna send a really tanky guy to just stand right here, and we're just gonna pocket him from back there where our healer is safe. And this guy is just like here swinging, he's having a great time. Like 1v5, 1v6, if they use a bunch of cooldowns on him, then this entire group can rotate in for free. If they don't use a bunch of cooldowns on him, then he can swing on their healers or swing on the ice gauntlets for free. So yeah, that's the biggest recommendation I have for actually getting through gates and also taking your time more and not trying to rush it because if you try to rush it, people will just kill your healer and then you just lose. If your healer dies, you will not get healed in the fort and you will not be able to win. So don't let that happen. Help your healers get through. And slow is fast when it comes to walking through gates. If you force people out and you actually complete the steps where you're leapfrogging, you're playing in your sacreds, you take your time, you will win the gate fight. But if you go too fast through it and you go through the motions too quickly, you will just get wiped and you will try to blame other people in your army for your mistakes. But at the end of the day, it's because you were probably going too fast. If you get blown up through like your healer's sacred and like through all this other stuff, that kind of comes down to cooldown management. You want to make sure that you have your cleanse pot when people actually collapse on you and whatnot. So but it's not super easy to get these through these gates. But you should be able to do it at least like 3 to 4 times in a war. I'd say is pretty normal to have like an opportunity to win. So just try to give yourself the best chance that you can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.